Anyone knows Louis likes a good laugh, he likes a good joke. He has a really positive outlook on things. He has a great sense of humor, and he's, makes you feel good about yourself.
Il était couché à l'hôpital à l'urgence. Il avait un intraveineux branché à lui. Et puis l'infirmière nous avait demandé de nous reculer parce qu'elle voulait changer le sac. Et alors, à moitié paralysé, couché sur le lit d'hôpital, il a trouvé le moment pour dire à l'infirmière en anglais, "Please make sure they make it single malt this time."
He knows everyone's name. He never forgets a name or a face. He's an incredibly interesting man, but he doesn't talk a lot about himself. So I have to kind of ask the questions, and his life experiences are incredible.
I was born in Montreal, and I lived most of my first 11 years in Montreal. And my father died when I was 16 months old. My mother decided she'd open up a boarding house in Montreal somewhere. And the mother was a good administrator, but there were always a few little deficits which her unmarried brother in Jasper, Alberta would cover by sending a check. After a while he said, "This is crazy, why don't you come and live with me in Jasper?" So in 1939, when I was 11 years of age, my mother and I left Montreal and we went to Jasper to live with him. And my mother thought it would be too much of a strain on me to go to school in the public school in Jasper in English. So she sent me to the French Canadian Jesuit College in Edmonton.
One of my fondest memories of Louis' friendship at university was when I became ill and I was supposed to go to a nurse's formal. I fell ill and I had to get a hold of Louis, and I told Louis would he fill in for me as Marg's date, and he said he would. He came down and he said, "Have you got a corsage?" I said, "Yes." I told him where the corsage was. Then he came back and he said, "Have you got a Mickey?" And that was a small bottle of rye. I pointed where it was and he took it. And he almost went, then he came back and he said, "Have you got any money?" I said, "Yes, my last $10 over there on the bureau as well." He took that. Now I ask you, where could you find a better friend that would take your date, your corsage, your whiskey, and your money, just to help you out?
After the university, I started becoming active in the French Canadian Association, and I took on education as my pet project. And in those years, French was illegal in the schools, and we had to fight to get the government to relax those laws a little bit.
He worked very hard with me and others to make sure that the protection for Francophone language was there and appropriately there in the Act.
Probablement, c'est la personne qu'on peut dire sans aucune hésitation qui a le plus contribué depuis les années 60 jusqu'à sa maladie récente au niveau de la francophonie albertaine.
Another key piece of litigation was the injunction that kept the Edmonton Oilers from leaving the city in 1993. I know that many in the bar thought that we would not succeed in getting that injunction, but we did. I think due in large part to Louis' persuasive words.
Never once since the time Louis has had his stroke have I ever heard him ever say that he was angry, that he was frustrated with his inability to do things that he always used to do. He told me once that having the stroke, yes, he wasn't able to go to the office any longer, but he was able to spend more time with Marcel.
She comes from Berlin and she comes from Frankfurt. Well, we should put a bottle of scotch away in a safe place. But I've been a very fortunate man. I've had a very happy life, a full life, and a lot of very interesting activities. And now the kids all have French schools. Our grandchildren go to French schools.
He is straightforward. He's got compassion for people. He's one of the finest men that I've ever met.